I'm Tom.
And I'm Molly.
Welcome to Forensic Gameology, hosted by ForensicGameology.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less.
Between Two Cities, Capitals. So the first expansion, I don't know if there is a second or there will be, but yeah, the first expansion to Between Two Cities, which is a drafting tile placement game. Is that what it would be called? Drafting tile placement? You're building a city building directly, because you're building a city with your partners. And the differences in this is that you start off with a terrain, and you're building a 5x5 square instead of 4x4 because of this. And so, also because you start off with 9 tiles instead of just the 7 for the first round and the third round. The second round is still the same. And there are going to be a new tile is introduced. These are civic tiles. And so these are buildings that are going to want to be next to different types of buildings. So 2 specific buildings they want to be next to, and 1 that they don't. And each of them is different of which 2 they want and which one they don't. So you put it next to 2 that it likes, the 2 different ones that it likes, you get 6 points. Put it next to the one that you don't, you get -1 point. If you only get one of those, you only get 1 point instead of the 6. Kind of like a house. Just like a house. This one, if you only put it next to one of the symbols that it likes, then it's 3 points. So 3 points, 6 points, or 1 point. So, and you have goals, like Tom is pulling out these cards. You have different districts, and if you get a connection of these 2 specific things, like if I get 5 parks and entertainment things in a row, or in some kind of connection orthogonally, I get however many, if this was here, if I'm to have the most, I get 7 points, second most, 5 extra points. So it's another goal to go for. So those are the differences, which I was supposed to explain short, but it ended up being longer than I thought. So, fun versus, nope, that's not.
Simplicity?
Simplicity versus complexity.
This ramps up the complexity of the base game by a lot, and that has been mentioned by everyone we've played with. So I think this takes it from a very simple family weight game and moves it past that. I don't know what you would classify it after family weight, as though families can't handle the heavier games, but I hope you get my meaning.
I don't know.
But yes, this does ramp up the complexity and leave the simplicity behind, and so you have to bear that in mind as you make your decision when playing this game as to whether or not you want to add the expansion. I could go both ways on that. I don't think it's too complex, but it is an addition to.
We've definitely played way more complex games, but Between Two Cities is one of my go-to, oh, you're not familiar with games? Let's pull up Between Two Cities. You might think twice about pulling this expansion out in that situation. Unless they've played Between Two Cities a handful of times, then they might like it. Tom and I didn't have a problem with the complexity, but everyone we introduced it to had only played Between Two Cities, 3 or 4 times, whereas we played it a lot more. So maybe that has something to do with it, but not too complicated, but not the same as the base. Luck versus strategy.
I think this takes the balance stays the same, but it adds a little of both. Because when you get these civic tiles in your hands, sometimes they fit perfectly, and you're going to get a 6 point, and that's like the highest any single one tile can be worth in their value. And other times you'll get it, and you just won't be able to use these at all, or you won't get the appropriate ones, and you'll have to pass something to your neighbor that they can use in a different city that's going to make it even better for them. And so there's some luck, but I think the strategy is just through the roof in this game. Chasing down the 9-point District 1, and because I mean, if you chase this down and you miss it, you're only going to get 3 points versus 9, and then maybe putting out that big stack of power plants and offices just wasn't even worth it for you. But it's also being able to add a 5x5, but have to play around certain areas. I mean, these bridges connect and make something adjacent, but you can't play on the terrain at all. You can only play in these blank spots. It's very strategic, and I've enjoyed how strategic it is, adding both that luck and that strategy and keeping that balance the same, although overall different from just the base game.
Yeah, the strategy definitely changes, and I can't add much more because Tom covered it all. The terrain is interesting because each card is different. This has 3 bridges, right? And so but it covers such a weird pattern, and this is just the one bridge. Like Tom said, these are adjacent. And so my strategy has been kind of, I can't say messed up, it's just been different from the base to this, because I usually like to go a lot of yellows, but the yellows are a little bit trickier to me because of this terrain, because you want them in a row. So things like that, I have found that the strategy is drastically different. And I don't know that the balance of luck and strategy isn't necessarily different for me. Just that there's a different I would go about attacking it differently. Fun versus boring. I find this to be fun. I find it to be an appreciated add-on to a game that I already really enjoy. So I think it's fun. I think there's so many more things to now go for that you already have six different things you go for. Now you have another civics and this. I think it's fun. I think it adds great fun things that we've already talked about. The strategy is really where it gets me. Where using your terrain and trying to go for all of these, you can't get all of them. So try to go for some of them, or just try to stick with this base game and rock it.
I love this game. I like the base set a lot. Play it all the time. Like Molly said, it's a go-to game for people who are coming in to say haven't really played a lot of games before. And if anyone wants to add this expansion, I will always say yes. I will always say, we're playing Between Two Cities. Definitely put in the Capitals expansion because of how it affects the strategy. I love trying to go after these districts. I love purposely Molly was handing me cards, and she was sitting to my left, and she kept passing me stuff and getting ticked that I wasn't playing the ones she wanted me to play, but I was chasing this, and we got tied for highest score. I
won. Yeah.
Point being, it really affects my gameplay, and I really enjoy it. On the Board Game Geek rating system, I'd give it a 10, which I think matches my Between Two Cities rating.
My 9 out of 10. Between Two Cities Capitals. We've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.